Alex Ansary here, coming to you from the area around Emmett, Idaho, where I have been for about a week. And I feel a massive shift in energy, just how it feels. And I notice this a lot in the past when I have moved in and out of Portland, Oregon, and other places. Just how sensitive I personally am to some of these energies, these dense population centers that many people are living in today. So there's a lot of reasons why it's therapeutic for me to go into nature and to live somewhat nomadically. I'll tell you what, Idaho is a really interesting mix of both Oregon and Colorado in the sense that it's got the moisture, uh, which is definitely needed if you're involved in farming. And this particular part of Idaho, which is not too far from Fruitland, I'm actually not too far from Boise, about a half hour from Boise. It's huge when it comes to fruit. Peaches, apricots, pears, apples, cherries, raspberries, blackberries, so many fruits. And fruit is medicine. So, there's a lot of benefits to living a lifestyle where you have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Not to say that everybody that's living in rural communities is living self-sufficiently. Quite a few people are not. But to visit people that are and see what they're doing, see what they've done with not a whole lot, that is inspiring, and that's definitely something that I've seen over the course of the last week. Idaho also has the mountains like Colorado, so it has that higher elevation combined with moisture. One could say it's the perfect climate for a farmer. But Idaho is not my home, it's just a stopping point. And I'm actually not very far from a spot where quite a few Native Americans were slaughtered, up on a mountain over here. And I wonder if it's for a reason that I've visited many places in the United States, unintentionally without even realizing it, where there is a certain amount of history. Moving forward, I'm going to be exploring Utah soon, and I'm looking forward to heading south through almost the center of the state and heading in the direction of the Four Corners area. Not necessarily the Four Corners Monument. I'm thinking about Arches National Park. I'm thinking about Mesa Verde. And I believe that's what it's called. Maybe some other areas. And seeing where we go from there, my overall destination is Alamosa, Colorado. But I've been determined. I'm actually recentering on this focus right here. This is about the journey, not the destination. So really for me, this is about the experiences, the friendships, the conversation, the different energies that I feel, and just how grounded I feel being in a state of mobility. It was a major blessing to upgrade my transportation, and over the course of the last week, there's been some changes done. The oil was changed, transmission oil, a couple other modifications on the inside. I've got my solar set up, and a couple other positive things that are going for me. And the truck and trailer that I used to own in Portland, Oregon, that I used to live in, it's been given away. And I know the people that have received it are going to benefit from it. I know they needed it very much. And so for them, it's an upgrade while I upgrade to something else. And while I set my sights and focus on moving forward, and that involves building my own structure or home, potentially at some point in the near future. The sky's the limit for me. Now that I am mobile with internet, although it's not cheap, and I have power, and I'm in the process of pretty soon I'll be taking out the toilet in that motorhome and replacing it. But for now, the agenda is to get the shower head and the faucet basic system replaced. The ability to actually take a shower in something like that does exist. Requires a little work. Bit by bit, I'm incrementally adding to my toolkit. At some point, I may be building something off the grid, and I'm actually going to need power tools. So at some point, I'll be looking for the appropriate screw guns and things of that nature. But I'm really going to take this one step at a time and enjoy the trip down south through Utah, see the National Forest, State Park, and of course everything in between here and there. before I go onwards to Colorado. Not only have I felt a change of energy, I think that other people have felt a change as well. Just even for people that are connected to me, that know me pretty well. When I leave a place like Portland, it's like other people know it. They can feel it. And I'll tell you what, I understand that it's scary for some people to live a certain lifestyle and to go without and to live with a certain amount of faith and trust. It's not always easy. There's a lot of sacrifice involved. It's not some luxury experience. But there is something to this concept of having faith in the universe providing for you. And there's actually an old Chinese story called Good Luck, Bad Luck. Google it, read it online. But it's an old parable about things happening in people's lives and people not necessarily knowing whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. So sometimes our lives end up in situations where they seem incredibly negative and we think we're being punished. When in reality, the opposite could be taking place. We could be rescued from a situation or removed from a situation. Or perhaps certain things won't work out for us because we're not meant to be there. Think about how this may be working in your own life. It's important that we look with our own perception at situations unfolding in our lives, that we understand that there's multiple perspectives one can have. It may seem negative, but in reality, it could be a blessing. At the same time, you could meet someone, something could come into your life. You may think that you've just been blessed with something, when in reality, it's something that one could argue has brought you bad luck. Whether something is actually good luck or bad luck isn't really clear at the time that it's taking place. It's years down the line. It's when you reflect. It's when you look back. And I would suggest that we look at this larger picture right now, everything that's taking place, all the injustices, all these things building up. I'm still posting news, by the way, to amtvmedia.com. If you're researching different topics, if you're aware of current events, if you're using Facebook or YouTube for that matter, subscribe to the RSS feeds at amtvmedia.com. Those are my posts in the headline section. All these things are building, and it seems really negative to a lot of people that are looking at it from one particular perspective, but I think that humanity needs to wake up. And it is parts of humanity, parts of us are waking up to the monster that humanity has helped create. Aspects of humanity has actually helped enable. And so it's important for people to talk and share their philosophies and understandings. And it's important that I keep doing videos and that I also show an example that you can be the media without being stuck in a dense population center, without being stuck in a city park, without being stuck or thinking that you're being stuck. A lot of this is psychological. And through my personal experiences in Portland, I believe that I come across a lot of people that believe that they physically have to stay in a certain geography or place to either find happiness, enlightenment, or basic survival or basic support. And it even happened to me. A lot of these things I've learned about through my own personal firsthand experiences. So living in Portland much of my life, living in a place like that, and seeing the changes and going through the microscopic challenges that seemed so epic at the time, I've learned a lot about A, myself, the microcosm, and B, you could even say the world of the universe, which is the macrocosm. And it's very important during these times that we continue to evolve and that we continue to learn. These are not boring times. And these haven't been boring times for a very, very long time. So things are not as they seem. It's important to remember that when things happen in our lives. But on the topic of life in the city, a lot of people have allowed themselves to be programmed to these false beliefs or notions that they need to stay in certain geographical areas in order to be safe, and that overall traveling and being in different places or people from outside the fence of their own terrain are blunted, dumbed down, or retarded. And when you travel throughout America, you really get to see the different ways that people do interact, especially when you have a few conversations. And on one level, a lot of people are vibrating at a similar level of believing, for the most part, what they've been told. But wherever you go, and with whatever culture, you're going to find a minority. You're going to find that less than 1% or less than 5% of the intellectual, spiritual, independent thinkers. And I believe that that is the consistent template throughout society and throughout time. and that it is unmindful to expect that percentage to change in order for you to feel enlightened, or in order for you to feel that you live in a world that is fulfilling. We have to remember that we are each on this path individually, on this planet, as souls, individually. So we have our own work to do regardless of what is going on with the world. But there's a reason that these things are taking place, that mankind is seeing its own madness. And with the internet, mankind could see the collective psychotic nature taking place with instantaneous communication. And people need to wake up to the overall spiritual sickness taking place within the body of mankind and womankind. And be responsible for their own lives, and put out their own intentions, and of course put forth the actions that they need to live a balanced, healthy, well-rounded life. For me, traveling involves that. That involves traveling. That involves freedom. That does not involve a master-slave relationship. Either being someone's slave or expecting someone to be my slave, playing some sort of game within society. This may work for some people some of the time, but it does not work for all of the people all of the time. And so for me, my own freedom, body, mind, and spirit, comes from this experience. In particular, being the media on the go without a dependency on being near a dense population center or in the city in order to get my message out. So that's one of the reasons why I've departed. Recently left Eastern Oregon, not too far from the Oregon border right now. Got a long ways to go before I reach my destination in the southern tip of Idaho, before then going somewhere into Colorado. Where I might end up between now and then, or even after, I don't know. But this is Alex Ansary signing off for April 20th, 2015. We'll see you in the next video.